I think that it's not all archaeologists, and I want to make this clear. I know many archaeologists who are open-minded, and many archaeologists who, just won't turn me away from an archaeological site. They won't lock that site to me. And I've learned a lot from them, and archaeologists are doing fantastic work, but we need another approach as well to bring to the table and to explore and understand the past.
Yeah.
The point I want to make is that what I'm seeing in this minority of archaeologists, as I say, there are many good archaeologists who I hugely respect. What we're seeing in this vocal minority of archaeologists who want to debunk, so-called debunk, who want to pour scorn on, who want to destroy any idea that doesn't coincide with their own, because they're archaeologists, because they're doctor this or professor that at a university and the status that comes with that, that gives them power. And I think what we're looking at is an abuse of power by archaeologists. I think they're abusing their power by using their positions to shut down alternative points of view. And I think it's high time that the archaeological institution as a whole stopped circling the wagons around these people who want to shut down alternative inquiry and realize that we can be in a mutual endeavor here, that it doesn't need to be hostile on both sides. Yeah, I say some harsh things about archaeologists, but I'm human, and archaeologists have been saying harsh things about me for 30 years. At a certain point, you begin to want to fight back. And fighting is not a constructive way to move forward. It's much better to find common ground and see what we can all learn from each other. I certainly learn a lot from archaeology. I wish archaeologists were willing. I'm not saying to learn from me. I don't want them to accept my ideas. I'm not seeking their approval, but just be open-minded enough to have a reasonable discussion, which doesn't involve smearing the other party with epithets like racist or white supremacist or other such nonsense.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Do you think archaeology is a science?
No.
Why do we call it a science?
Archaeologists want it to be a science.
Right.
They're desperate to regard themselves as true scientists. But no, archaeology is a much more interpretive discipline about the past, and it's not a hard science like mathematics or physics. If it's a science, it's a very soft science, and the amount of experimentation that you can do to test hypotheses is very, very small. And I think this is part of the problem. That archaeologists want to look like these rigorous, rational scientists. They're desperate to distance themselves from any kind of superstition. That's one of the reasons why they don't like the fact that there are 200 myths, so-called myths, about a global flood around the world, very often a flood that destroyed a former civilization. They don't want to be, they see that as kind of superstition and storytelling. They don't want to be associated with, that's too soft for them. They want stuff that they can weigh, measure, and count. Well, great, let's weigh, measure, and count, but let's take account of all the other messages that are sent to us by the past as well, and those are encoded very strongly in myths and traditions from all around the world.
A lot of times when people attack people, it's because they're angry about their own self, what's happening within the inside. And when you think about archaeology and science and how they label people pseudoscientists, and they throw that name around, is it really because they kind of realize that they're not really scientists themselves?
Yeah, I think they're projecting their own insecurity in some way. I'll take this opportunity to say that while Wikipedia is useful, it is a very biased tool. It's a very biased. Encyclopedias are supposed to objectively present the facts. They're not supposed to manifest the points of view of particular interest groups. And I've noticed that those of us who are thinking in alternative ways about the past, or indeed in alternative ways about mysteries like the mystery of consciousness. Rupert Sheldrake, for example, is a true scientist, but he's spent his life studying mysteries like telepathy and telekinesis. He gets all kinds of accusations for that, and he is referred to as a pseudoscientist. And I'm referred to on my Wikipedia page as somebody who's spreading pseudoscientific ideas. That is an opinion. That is an opinion. That should not be in an encyclopedia. That is there because actually the same group of archaeologists who have been so vigorously attacking my work are precisely the people who control my Wikipedia page.
Right.
You can try to, yes, Hoops is key in anything to do with so-called pseudo-archaeology. He's all over Wikipedia in that respect. He's even boasted about that.
Right.
They're introducing
This is
a
your name.
speculative term, pseudoscientific theories. Now, you see, for people who know my work, they know that's not what I am. But for somebody who's heard about my work, perhaps heard my name for the first time, they're a bit curious. The first place that when they search Graham Hancock on Google, the first hit they're going to get is to Wikipedia. And Wikipedia is going to say, this guy is a pseudoscientist, which is a very pejorative, very negative term. And that may turn many people off. And that's exactly the purpose of the Wikipedia page. It's designed effectively to cancel me by persuading other people not to take a look at anything that I've said or done. And if they did take a look at what I've said or done, they'd see that it's a result of 30 years of rigorous boots-on-the-ground work and thousands of pages of books with thousands of footnotes directing people to where I go. This is not pseudoscience. I don't claim it's science, but I don't need that label being applied to me, designed to switch me off, to turn people off my work right from the beginning without even looking at my work. Right. And furthermore, having no right to edit my Wikipedia page. My Wikipedia page, anybody who tries to edit it, they'll find they can't. If an edit is put in, it'll be removed very, very quickly because the page is controlled. And that's what it seems the archaeological establishment want the public to think about my work. Most of the rest of the content, I'm not going to pick any fight with that, but the use of this word pseudoscientist again and again is propaganda, and it's deliberately designed to shut me down. So I know that in my area, when I look at the Wikipedia pages of people like Rupert Sheldrake, of myself and of others working in alternative, Robert Boval, Robert Schock, I see the same problem occurring, and I see that it's a definite part of the structure of Wikipedia is that it is used to promote the agenda of particular interest groups in a field that I know. I suspect in fields that I don't know, the same thing is also true.
Yeah.
That particular
It's corrupt.
It's a corrupt presence in the world today. And it's corrupt because it's presenting itself as objective and not driven by agendas, when in fact it is driven by agendas. And if it wants to say that it is driven by agendas, and we support particular agendas, and our encyclopedia expresses those agendas, if it says that openly, fair enough. But it presents itself as objective.
Yeah. Well, I think the good thing is that more and more people are taking Wikipedia less and less seriously.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Dan Richards from Debunking has done some great work to expose a lot of that nonsense.
He has indeed.
Yeah.
He has indeed. And I think this is a good caution for anybody in any field. Don't rely on Wikipedia. It can be a useful first port of call. It can be a very useful place. It is anyway where Google will put you first of all.
Right.
But be very, very careful in swallowing everything that they say there, because what you're swallowing is propaganda.